Hello, everyone. It is Self-Care Sunday, Self-Care Edition. How are you? And you, but especially you doing tonight? Tell me about it. That's what I want to know. It is so great to have you all here tonight. Let's get my other screen up and going here. Boom, that screen's going. Oops, hang on a second. We're almost there. Prove that. There we go. Now I think I've got everything going. There we go. Boom. Happy Father's Day to those that are celebrating, even if it's just a fur baby. And I hope you all had a wonderful Father's Day and first day of summer. First day of summer out there today. You know, the calendar keeps on moving into the future. That is what we say. Boom. Ooh, hang on a second. I got all this stuff. And I'm trying to get my boom. And got all this. Trying to get all these different screens going here tonight. But I hope all is well. It is great to be back here with you live. It has been a incredibly crazy week of travel. Well, the last couple weeks have been, and a little bit of travel this week. You know, it is that season. A little bit of travel this week. A lot of cuckoo travel. It feels like the last couple weeks, and all over the place. Mostly Michigan this past week, which has been great. A lot of great ideas and really good forward progress on things. So, hey, Beth, how are you? Thank you. Hope all is well with you in Georgia. It is a great day. Let's find our opening quote tonight. Ooh, I like that. Our opening quote is success isn't about the end result, it's about what you learn along the way. Success isn't about the end result, it's about what you learn along the way. Vera Wang said that. Believe it or not, that is her quote. Um, so I thought I'd talk a little sports tonight, not because I know most of my audience is sports people. I know most of you are not sports people, but there has been some really great sports news with the World Cup, which is soccer. I'll define that. World Cup is FIFA, World Cup is soccer. Okay? With all that's going on with the World Cup. Oh, and hang on, I thought this was cool. Somebody made me a bracelet this week that says Neil. I thought you guys would like that. My Neil bracelet. But with the and of course it is all pink. All pink there. Uh but with the FIFA World Cup going on, there's just been lots of great news and stories out there. And there's a couple that are there's three that stand out right now. At this point in the World Cup games, okay, there's three stories that really stand out. One is the Scottish team, the team from Scotland, and all their fans that have been partying it up in Boston. They have been having the best time all over Boston. And one of the things that they've been doing is pranking all the statues around the city of Boston and putting caution cones on top of them. So they've been scaling any historic statue that they can find, and they scale it in their kilts, and they put a orange caution cone on the top of it. And so that's been happening all over Boston. And they even got to the stadium. They got to the stadium in like 30 school buses. They rented like 30 school buses to go to the stadium, and a truck full of 20,000 beers and I forget how many thousands of waters. So that their people to beer ratio was good. And they've been having a really good time around the city. The other one that's been really in a that steps into the business lessons is what Levi's has been doing. So one of the things with the World Cup that FIFA is able to command is that stadiums can't be branded. So you can't have Gillette in Boston, you can't have Gillette Stadium, which is the stadium of the New England Patriots, where the World Cup games are being played. That can't be called Gillette. And what's more, anything that says Gillette or any branding for the Patriots or Gillette have to be erased or covered up throughout the stadium. So on the chairs where it would say Gillette, they took duct tape and covered it up. On the stadium, the signs are all covered. Anything that said Gillette are covered. And this is also for the Levi Stadium, which is out in the Bay Area of California. They covered that up. And so Levi's, the brand, has created a viral marketing campaign that is awesome. So if you don't follow sports and you're not following FIFA, you need to look up the Levi campaign because it's truly genius. Okay, because it's really like no one will know. The whole idea is no one will know what this is. And it'd be like covering the golden arches and saying nobody knows that this is McDonald's. And so nobody knows this is the Levi logo that's been around forever. And so they do this whole pun on this, and they even do it on their social media. They have the Levi logo on their social media covered up like the stadium. And they've done it in some stores, some select stores. They've covered the logo in the same way to again build on that virality and have really created an opportune moment and an opportune marketing opportunity. And honestly, that's an opportunity in your stores. If you carry jeans, if you are a clothing store and you carry jeans, if you are a store and you carry uh, a home decor store and you carry vintage signs and you have a Levi's sign, this is an opportunity to cover it up like that. So we have these non-branded jeans. You could use the exact language that Levi's is using in their ads. No one will know what these jeans are, and you could cover up the logo in the same way that is being covered up on the stadium. They have been getting so much press on it and so much entertainment. It's really a brilliant marketing move. And the Levi logo, unlike Gillette, which is spelled across the Boston Stadium, or the AT&T logo that's covered up on others. Trying to think of some of the other logos that are covered up as stadiums. The Mercedes-Benz logo, I think, is one of the stadiums that's covered up. But the Levi's one, really, because they wrapped it so tight and everything, really just shows through. It's really an impressive business lesson in how they complied with the FIFA contract, but also created a unbelievable marketing opportunity. But tonight, the other lesson that really hits home with a business angle and a business lesson to it is the US team. Okay, and that's not just to be hometown rah rah. That's not to go rah rah, go US, go US. But no one expected what has happened with the US team. Okay, well, one, they're winning. But for the first time in nearly a century, they won two back to back games. They haven't won two back to back games since 1930. So almost 100 years since the last time in the World Cup that the U.S. men's team won two back to back games. And they have done it without their star player. They have accomplished this without their star player, which is pretty freaking awesome. Okay. And it's awesome because it does what needs to happen in your stores. Okay. The rest of the team rose. Okay. They weren't out because their star performer was out. Their business didn't go down because their star performer was down. Their business kicked it up a notch. Okay, he played a role in the business, and they had a substitute playing the role that their star player. Um, the star was sidelined for both wins. And you don't hear that in sports. You don't hear that, in when stars are sidelined in sports, you typically hear all the reasons why they didn't win instead of the reasons why they did. And the US team is really bucking that trend by having this set up so the it's great when they have their star. I mean, imagine what they could have accomplished if they had the quote unquote star player. But they accomplished so much because he played a position and the rest of the team played their positions and they had a substitute for that position. So the team still performed. And that is really a huge lesson for you and your store. Okay? If it's you in your business or your best team member got hurt tomorrow, would your store get worse? Would it look different? Okay, or would it rise to the occasion? Um, would your store rise? And some of that's just the simplest lesson, as in, if you disappeared for 2 weeks, would things still happen? I talk about it often. If you could not have your phone, if you were on an island, okay, and there was no way to reach you, okay, because often in a small business, you are the star player. You are the one holding it all on your shoulders. But if you disappeared for 2 weeks, if you were laid up, if you were gone for a month, if you were out for the two busiest weeks of the year, would your store still perform or would it fall flat? Would it exceed expectations or would it fall flat? And what happens with that? What happens with that? You know, uh, when your best person succeeds without you, do you feel proud or threatened? Uh, you know, so often, and I'm picking on you guys that are owners because so often it is an owner problem. Okay, you are in the owner's seat and you are carrying everything. You are the crutch to everything, and when that crutch is removed, bad things happen. When that crutch is removed in the business, bad things happen. And it's usually not a rise up, although it does happen. Sometimes you go away on vacation and you're like, the store was busier than when I'm there and they handled it all. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Okay, but when it's dependent on you or when it's dependent on a star player, and it's very common in a small business okay, or in any business really, because this is a typical sports thing where it's dependent on the star. Okay, when you're dependent on that one person, bad things happen when something goes wrong, when they get injured, when they go on vacation, when they disconnect from the business for any period of time for any reason. Usually there's a dip, just like in sports. But there doesn't have to be, because when you train to the position, when you train to the people, to the role and responsibilities, different things happen and you lift each other up. So better things happen. Um, just like did. Uh, they broke, just like what happened in the sports team, they broke the role down to the actual functions and what systems can split that work. So, and that's the same in business. It's the same thing in business. We do the same thing. Maybe you don't have somebody that can do both receiving and pricing. Maybe that's the bottleneck in your business. Okay, but you have somebody who can do intake and do the yes nos, and you have somebody else that can price and enter into the computer. Maybe that's how you split and rise. But thinking of how you divide this up now before you have a problem, how would this happen if your star performer were out? If you were out, when you start breaking that down, okay, it makes your business more resilient. It makes your store more resilient. It makes you have a business, not a bad job. Makes you have a business, not a bad job. And that's where sports crosses over here. Sports crosses over into the field here, and you really have that opportunity to shine and connect the dots there. And that is what is so important. That is what is so important as you work this out and as you work on your business. So keep that in mind as you think about this. I'm actually have a full lesson that I'm going to drop into the program uh, shortly. Right, Beth. It's very important to change up your systems, and really it gets into documentation and training, and actually, looking at the critical roles within your business so that you can drive it forward. Because you don't want to be dependent. You don't want to have any one weak link in the system. Okay. Because there's so many things, especially as you've grown the business and others are growing their business, you don't want to have any one point of failure. Because life happens. People get sick, people get injured, people move. Uh, people have crazy kids, even at the simplest level, they have parents and kids that they have to take care of, or anything in between. It really is huge. I'll be dropping a whole lesson on this, complete with a workbook into the program at resalerise.com. So you'll be able to have the whole lesson in there. It is really timely, and the analogy is timely, but the lesson is timeless. The analogy is timely, but the lesson is timeless because it's something that you have to look at each time each way as your business levels up. You know what else you can look at? This video and everything I talk about. This video and everything I talk about goes over to the YouTube channel. You're not alone running this store, where you can like, comment, subscribe, and oh yes, ring the bell, ring it so you know when another one drops. You can also share it with everybody you know in business, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, so we can help everybody run a better business. I am here every Sunday and Wednesday at More 8 Than Ish, Sunday and Wednesday at More 8 Than Ish. But if you have a question between, just email me. Neil, Neil, at resalerise.com, Neil at resalerise.com. Start the program every night with an opening quote. Our opening quote tonight was, "Success isn't about the end result, it's about what you learn along the way." Our closing quote tonight is, if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. Ooh, is that not a small business quote? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abrams, and I do like a good party, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, Father's Day, first day of summer party. Yes, any reason to party is a good reason to party. But until then, and until Wednesday at More 8 Than Ish, know that you, and you, but most importantly you, yes, you're not alone running this store. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you, yes, you, on Wednesday.